Hello everyone, welcome all of you for the business law class. In last video we already discussed about the meaning of the contract and agreement, what are the difference between the contract and agreement, and what is the types of obligations and some other matters. Okay, in this video we'll study about the essentials of a valid contract or legal rules of a valid contract. What are the main legal rules to become the valid contract? To construct a contract or to become a contract or to enter into a contract, what are the main rules should follow? Okay, what are the rules a person should follow? Okay, essentials, what are the needs of a valid contract? What should be there in a valid contract? Okay, this is a very important topic for your examination purpose. Okay. First, we already studied what is the meaning of contract. Contract is an agreement between the two parties and should be enforceable by law. Enforceable by law is nothing but it should be accepted by law and it should be as a legal. And now we will see the one by one what are the essentials of the contract. First one, plurality of parties. Plurality of parties. Okay, what do you mean by plurality of parties? Plurality of parties is nothing but to constitute a contract there must be an agreement, right, which may be oral or in writing. In every agreement there must be minimum two parties. There must be minimum two parties. The parties, one party is giving the offer and other party accepting the same. There should be a plurality of parties. Plural means more than one person, right? So in a contract, to become a contract or to constitute contract, there should be a more than two persons. One party is giving the offer and the other accepting the offer. The party giving the offer is called an offerer, and the party accepting the offer is called the acceptor. Offerer and the acceptor. At least two parties should be there. One is the offerer and another one is the acceptor. No agreement comes into existence if there is only one party. No agreement come into existence if there is only one party. A single person cannot constitute a contract. There should be a plurality of parties, more than one person. Minimum members under the contract is 2. Okay, there must be minimum two parties in a contract. So under the plurality parties there should be a more than two persons. One party is to make an offer, another person to accept the offer, offerer and the acceptor. Next one, offer and acceptance. Same thing. An agreement is the starting point in a contract, right? Before the contract there should be something, that is an agreement. After the agreement it becomes contract, right? Okay, an agreement is the starting point in a contract. It is the result of the offer and the acceptance. The result, there should be under the agreement there should be two things, offer and acceptance. We already discussed it, right? The person who make an offer is the offerer, the person who accepts the offer, that is the acceptor. So there should be under the contract there should be two things should be there. One is the offer and one is the acceptance. There must be valid offer by one party and the valid acceptance of that offer by the other. The terms of offer must be clear, definite, and you should not make any confusions. For example, B agreed to sell 10 cents of land to A for rupees 40 lakhs as requested by A. Now B agrees to sell 10 cents of land to A for rupees 40 lakhs. Okay, as requested by A. A requested with the B that he wants to purchase the land of B. Okay, now A is the offerer. He is first starting the contract, right? He is going to request, right? So A is the offerer and B is the acceptor. So offer and acceptance. Next one, intention to create legal relationship. Intention to create legal relationship or legal obligations. An agreement which create to become this point we already discussed, right? Legal obligation, right? Okay, to become a contract or to constitute a contract there must be two things. One is the agreement, one is the legal obligation, right? So an agreement which creates legal obligation is a contract. It means that while entering into an agreement, both the parties must have an intention to create legal relationship between them. There should be a legal relationship between the parties. For agreement on social or domestic nature do not create legal relationships, such they are not contracts, right? If the agreements on the some social or domestic nature, for example, the relation between the husband and wife, for example, particular husband agrees to give 100 rupees every month to his wife for her expenses. Okay, the relationship between husband and wife is a social, or is it because of love or because of the responsibility he is agreeing to give 100 rupees, right? There is no legal relationship, so this is called the under that husband and wife relationship there is no creation of the legal relation, so this is not the contract. And for example, the person A jokingly, just for joke, asks B to sell his car for 5,000 to C. Whether it is possible to sell the car for 5,000? No, right? In this example, the offer was not made to create any legal obligation. So, to create intention to create legal obligation, there should be a legal relationship between the two persons. And under this third essential, we are going to study one case, that is Balfour versus Balfour. Okay, I will explain this case in next video. Okay, this is very important case, Balfour versus Balfour. Okay, this case is relating to which? Intention to create legal obligations. Okay, next we will see certainty of the agreement. Certainty of the agreement. There should be certain, or the thing should be explained in clear manner. The things should be explained in clear manner. And okay, this is sorry. Before that, see. Okay, fourth one, lawful consideration. Okay, lawful consideration. See, what do you mean by lawful consideration? Consideration is means what? The agreement is legally enforceable when both the parties give something and get something in return. Consideration is nothing but giving something back for receiving something. If you receive something means we should give something back. So under the contract, okay, one more essential is law. There should be a lawful consideration. There should be a consideration. There should be give something for what he takes from another person. The agreement to be enforceable by law must be supported by consideration. Consideration is an agreement means an advantage or benefit moving from one party to another. The agreement is legally enforceable. Agreement is legally enforceable only when both the parties give something and get something in return. Okay, remember, give something and get something in return. This something which moves from one party to another in the contract is called consideration. For example, A agrees to sell his property to B for rupees 50 lakhs. A agreed to sell his property to B for rupees 50 lakhs. Okay. Under this, A and B, right? A is seller, he is a buyer, right? A is transferring the property, B is paying the money, right? Money. So, what going from A? Property is going from A to B. This is the consideration in the case of A. What is going from B? B is paying 45 lakhs. The B is paying 45 lakhs. In the case of B, 45 lakhs is the consideration. 45 lakh is a consideration. So, consideration is nothing but there should be a something to give to another person, something to take from another person. There should be lawful consideration. And next one, we'll see competency or capacity of the parties to enter into an agreement. Okay. All people cannot become a party to a contract. Capacity of the parties to enter into an agreement. Every person cannot enter into a contract. According to section 11 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, the person entering into an agreement must have the legal capacity to become a party of a contract. It means parties to the contract must be the age of majority, must be the sound mind, and must not be disqualified from contracting by any laws. So, under the parties to enter into an agreement is nothing but every person cannot enter into a contract. The person should have capacity to enter into a contract. For example, the person of minor below the age of 18 cannot enter into a contract, and the person of unsound mind and lunatic, okay, mad person cannot enter into a contract, and any other person who is disqualified under any act, or a person which is disqualified under the any contracting act or any other laws, he cannot enter into a contract, or any other person, the insolvent person, they cannot enter into a contract. Okay. For example, an agreement by a person with a minor is absolutely void. A person cannot, a minor person below the age of 18, he cannot enter into a contract. Okay. Next one, pre-consent. In order to be enforceable by law, parties in the agreement must have given their consent. Consent is nothing but their opinion, they pre-consent. There should not be any forceful, okay, they should not enter in the contract by the force of any other mind. So, the consent of the parties is said to be free when they are of the same mind on all the material terms of the contract. They have to accept all the terms and conditions of the contract in the same mind. So, the consent of the parties means that parties to the agreement agree upon the same thing in the same sense. Both the parties of the contract, they should agree the terms and conditions of the contract in the same thing, not forced by any another person. They should not force, any other person should not force a particular contracting party to enter into a contract. For example, A threatens to kidnap B if he does not sell his coffee estate to A. The particular person A, he threatens to kidnap B, okay. He forces to sell his coffee estate to B, okay. A threatens to kidnap B if he does not sell his coffee estate to A for rupees 10 crore, which is worth rupees 50 crores. Actually, the worth of the coffee estate is how much? 50 crores, 50. But he is threatened, that person is, but in Kannada we are telling that Bedarike is putting threatens to kidnap B, okay. If he does not sell his coffee estate for rupees 10 crores, he is asking only for the 10 crores. If he is not going to sell the coffee estate for 10 crores means he threatens him to kidnap, okay. This is about there is no free consent, right? Because of this forcefully he is agreeing to sell his coffee estate for 10 crores because of threaten, right? Okay, this is about the free consent. There should be free consent, okay. And next one is the legality of the object or lawful object. The object of the particular contract should be legal, okay. The object, or what are the main object? There must be a contract without an object. The object must be there, right? The object is or the purpose for which an agreement is brought into existence. That particular purpose should be a legal or for the good purpose. The object of the agreement must be lawful. An object becomes lawful only when it is conformity with law or according to the law. It should be according to the law. If the object of an agreement is illegal, immoral, or the opposite to the public policy, the agreement will be void and therefore cannot be enforceable by law. What are the main object or what are the main matter of the contract should be legal and it should be moral. It should not be opposed to public policy. If any matters or object opposed to public policy or immoral means it is not enforceable by law. For example, agreement to sell drugs like
brown sugar or any other things, right? Or to agreement to beat, kidnap, kill a person, etc. is illegal, right? Okay. For example, the person A agreed to kill person B for rupees 10,000. The person A agreed to kill person B for rupees 10,000. The person C agreed to give 10,000 rupees to A for the purpose of killing person B. Okay. This is the contract between the two persons. Okay, this is two persons contract, but this is the main object is what? Killing a person. It's immoral and it's against the public policy or illegal, right? This is not a contract. It's just an agreement. It's not enforceable by law. So legality of the object or lawful object, the object of the contract must be legal. Okay, this is about the legality of the object or lawful object. Next one, certainty of the agreement. Certainty of the agreement is nothing but the terms, conditions or any other matters relating to the contract should be mentioned certainly, or agreement must be certain. That is, the terms of the agreement must be certain or at least capable of being made certain. It must be possible to ascertain the meaning of the agreement. Okay, all the terms, conditions should be in certain manner. It should not be in confusing manner. It should be in certain manner. For example, A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. There is nothing in the agreement to show what kind of oil is intended. In this case, it is not clear as to what kind of oil is intended to be sold. That means agreement is uncertain. So it is oil. However, so in this example, say, suppose A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. Only that information is there. We don't know which type of oil and what is the date of the delivery date or what is the amount of the oil. Not these things are mentioned in the particular contract. This is the uncertain. These agreements are not become the contract. This becomes the oil. Okay. So certainty of the agreement, all the matters should mention in a clear manner. There should not be any confusion. Okay, next one, possibility of performance. Possibility of performance is nothing but agreement must be capable of being performed. That is, the terms of the agreement must be capable of performance. The terms and conditions or the matter of the or object of the particular contract must be in the manner of performance. Possible. It should be in a manner of possibility. It should be possibility. For example, A agrees with B to discover treasures by magic. Whether it's possible to create the treasure by magic, it's not possible, right? So it's not a valid contract. Okay, possibility should be there. Okay. For example, one more example, if X agrees with Y to put life into his dead wife, whether it is possible to give life to dead person? No, right? It is a fake contract. Okay, it's not possible. These agreements are not become the contract. To become a contract, the act should be in a possible manner. Impossibility, if there is an impossibility, it won't become contract. Okay. For example, same example, see, the A person agrees to give life into B's wife. Okay, dead. Okay, the wife of the B is died. Whether it's possible to give the life to died person? No, right? So this is impossibility. So next one, not extremely declared oil. Not extremely declared oil. To be enforceable at law, the agreement must not have been expressly declared void under the Indian Contract Act or under any other act in the force in the country. Not extremely declared void. The matters or any contract, it should not be declared void or under the Contract Act or any other acts which are there in the country. If the agreement has been expressly declared to be void under the Indian contract or any other law in force in the country, it cannot be enforceable at law. For example, an agreement in restraint of marriage. Restraint of marriage is cancelling the marriage. Any agreement, for example, a person agreed with the person B Okay, the B person is ready to give rupees 10,000 to rupees B if the person stops the marriage of person C. Okay, restraint of marriage means cancellation of the marriage, an agreement in restraint of trade. Okay, spoiling the trade between two persons. Okay, an agreement in restraint of legal proceedings or wagering agreements. These are the void agreements. Okay, these are the void agreements, means they are not enforceable by law. Void is nothing but these agreements or these contracts are not enforceable by law. So not extremely declared void. Any agreements, they are not declared void. Okay. Next one is the legal formalities has to writing and registration. Legal formalities has to writing and registration. Okay. Under the as per the section 9 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, an agreement may be oral or in writing. However, the second para of section 10 of the Indian Contract Act says down that nothing herein contained shall affect any law in force in India and not hereby expressly repealed, by which any contract is required to be made in writing or in the presence of a witness or any law relating to the registration of documents. In India, there is not compulsory to all the agreements should be in oral, should be in writing. Okay, some agreements, oral agreements are also accepted, but in some cases or some documenting purpose, some things should be in writing and should be there in the need some registration. Okay. An oral contract is also considerable to valid contract. It is, however, in the best interest of parties that the contract should be in writing. In certain cases, the document in which the contract is to be incorporated must also be registered and stamped. Some documents need the registration and the stamped. For example, mortgage or lease deed under the Transfer of Property Act, the Memorandum of Association, the Articles of Association and the Partnership Deed, etc. should be registered, right? The oral things under the Partnership Deed or Memorandum of Association is whether these are permissible, no. In these things there should be registered and should be stamped. In some cases certain documents require attestation. These should be attested. Example, some house property, ownership records, mortgages, rent bonds, they should be attested. So, legal formalities as to writing and registration. In some cases oral is enough, in some cases should be in writing, in some cases they should be attested, they should be registered and they should be stamped. Okay. This is about the main legal rules regarding the valid contract. Okay. Only one thing under this is left, that is the point 3, intention to create legal obligation. Under that one case law is that Balfour versus Balfour. I will discuss this case law under the next class. Okay. Thank you.